everyone, and welcome to another episode of Personal Growth Talks podcast. I'm Julia, and today we're going to talk about a very common challenge that many English learners face: how to speak without pausing too much. Have you ever started talking in English and then suddenly stopped because you couldn't find the right word? Or maybe you felt nervous and didn't know what to say next. If this happens to you, don't worry. You are not alone. Many English learners face the same problem. Speaking without pausing too often is one of the main signs of fluency. It doesn't mean you have to speak very fast. It means you speak smoothly, with confidence, and with natural flow. When you can express your ideas easily and clearly, your listener will understand you better, and you'll feel more comfortable in every conversation. In today's episode, we'll learn why people pause too much and how you can fix it. We'll talk about confidence, vocabulary, thinking in English, and even how to use filler words naturally, all to help you speak more smoothly. So stay with me until the end, because by the time you finish listening to this episode, you'll have many useful and simple tips to help you speak English more naturally and without long pauses. All right, let's get started and understand why we pause when speaking. Now let's talk about why we pause so much when we speak English. Understanding the reason is the first step to improving your fluency. There are a few common reasons why people pause when speaking. The first one is nervousness. When we feel nervous, our mind becomes blank. We forget what we wanted to say, and that makes us stop and think too much. This happens especially when we speak to strangers, teachers, or native speakers. The second reason is lack of words. Sometimes we know what we want to say, but we don't know the right English words to express it. So we pause, searching for the word in our mind. The third reason is thinking in your native language instead of English. When you translate every word in your head, it slows down your speaking speed. You say one word in English, then stop to think of the next one, and that creates long pauses. And the fourth reason is fear of making mistakes. Many learners stop speaking because they are afraid their grammar or pronunciation is wrong. But remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Even native speakers pause or correct themselves sometimes. So pausing is not a bad thing. It's a normal part of learning. But if you pause too often, it can make your speech sound broken or uncertain. The good news is you can change that with simple practice and the right techniques, which we'll talk about next. Now, it's important to understand that not all pauses are bad. In fact, some pauses are natural and even necessary when we speak. Let me explain. When we talk, we need to pause to breathe, to think for a short moment, or to separate ideas. These pauses make our speech sound clear and natural. For example, when you say, "Yesterday, I met my friend at the park. We talked for hours." That small pause after park sounds natural. It gives your listener time to understand what you said. But sometimes we make unnatural pauses, long or sudden breaks that interrupt the flow of our speech. For example, yesterday, I met my friend at the park. This kind of speaking makes it sound like you are unsure or nervous, even if you know the words. So the goal is not to remove all pauses, it's to make them natural and meaningful. Use short pauses to give your listener time to think, but avoid stopping too often. With practice, your pauses will sound more natural, and your speech will flow smoothly and confidently. Now let's talk about confidence, because confidence is one of the most powerful ways to stop pausing too much when you speak. When you feel confident, you don't worry so much about mistakes. You focus more on your message and less on being perfect. And when your mind feels relaxed, your words come out more easily and naturally. But how can you build that confidence? One simple way is to practice speaking every day, even for a few minutes. You can talk to yourself in English, describe what you're doing, or tell a short story. For example, say I'm making tea right now, or I'm planning my day. These small daily moments help your brain get used to thinking and speaking in English. Another way to build confidence is to record yourself speaking. When you listen later, you'll notice your progress and areas to improve. It might feel strange at first, but it's one of the best ways to grow. And remember, no one speaks perfectly all the time. Even native speakers pause, make mistakes, and start over. So, be kind to yourself and celebrate small improvements. With confidence and regular practice, your speech will become smoother and more natural day by day. One big reason people pause while speaking is that they think too slowly in English. This often happens because they are translating from their native language before they speak. For example, they think a sentence in their own language first, then try to change it into English, and that takes time. To speak smoothly, you need to think directly in English. It sounds difficult, but it becomes easier with practice. Here's how you can start. First, try to describe your daily life in English. When you wake up, think in English. I'm getting out of bed. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going to work. You don't need to speak aloud every time, just train your mind to use English words naturally. Second, practice short conversations in your head. Imagine you're at a restaurant or in a shop. Think about what you would say, for example, "Can I see the menu, please?" Or, "How much is this?" This kind of practice helps your brain get faster at forming sentences. And third, listen and repeat what you hear in English podcasts, shows, or YouTube videos. This technique, called shadowing, helps you connect words quickly and naturally. The more you practice thinking in English, the faster your brain will respond and the fewer pauses you'll have when speaking. Another big reason people pause too much when speaking is that they don't have enough words to express their ideas. When you can't find the right word, your mind stops, and that creates a long pause. So, if you want to speak smoothly, you need to build your vocabulary, but do it the smart way. Don't just memorize single words. Instead, learn phrases and word groups that people use in real conversations. For example, instead of only learning the word mistake, learn the full phrase, make a mistake. Instead of learning advice, learn give advice or take someone's advice. When you learn phrases, your brain doesn't have to build each sentence from zero. It already knows what sounds natural, and that helps you speak without long pauses. Another tip is to use what you learn immediately. When you learn a new phrase, try to use it in your daily speech or writing. For example, if you learn "in my opinion," use it in a sentence. In my opinion, learning English is fun. The more you use new words and phrases, the more natural they become. And remember, vocabulary grows slowly, but every new phrase you learn brings you one step closer to fluency. Now let's talk about something very helpful for speaking smoothly: filler words. Filler words are small, simple words that people use when they need a short moment to think, but they don't want to stop speaking. They help your speech sound natural and keep the conversation flowing. Some common filler words in English are, "well, actually, let's see, and so." For example, instead of stopping completely, you can say, "well, I think learning English takes time," or "actually, I believe practice is the key." These short words give your brain a second to think while you continue talking. They also make your speech sound more relaxed and natural, just like native speakers. But here's something important: don't use them too much. If you say or you know in every sentence, it can sound unnatural. The key is to use them sometimes, only when you really need to think for a second. So next time you feel like pausing, try adding a natural filler word. It will help you sound confident and keep your speech smooth and connected. Now that you know how to use filler words, let's talk about how to practice speaking with flow. Flow means speaking smoothly without too many pauses and keeping a natural rhythm. One of the best ways to practice is to read aloud every day. Take a short paragraph from a book or article and read it out loud, slowly and clearly. Focus on connecting your words and keeping your voice steady. This helps your mouth and brain work together more smoothly. Another great exercise is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker, maybe in a podcast or YouTube video, and repeating what they say immediately after them. Try to copy their tone, speed, and rhythm. This is one of the most effective ways to sound natural and confident when you speak. You can also practice storytelling. Tell a short story about something you did yesterday, or describe your favorite place. When you practice telling stories, your speech becomes more connected and interesting. And remember, the goal is not to speak fast. It's to speak smoothly with natural flow and confidence. With daily practice, you'll notice your pauses getting shorter and your speech becoming more natural. Now let's talk about something that many people forget: your breathing and your voice. If you don't breathe properly when speaking, you may run out of air, stop suddenly, or speak too fast and sound nervous. Good breathing helps you control your voice, stay calm, and speak with confidence. Here's a simple exercise you can try. Take a deep breath through your nose, hold it for a second, and then breathe out slowly through your mouth while speaking a short sentence. For example, say, "My name is Julia, and I love helping people learn English." This kind of breathing helps you keep your voice steady and your speech smooth. Another tip is to pause to breathe, not to think. When you take short, natural breaths between ideas, your speech flows better and sounds more natural. Also, pay attention to your voice tone. Try to speak clearly, not too fast or too slow. Use a warm and friendly tone. It makes your listener feel comfortable and helps you sound confident. So remember, breathe calmly, control your pace, and let your voice show confidence. Your words will sound stronger, smoother, and easier to understand. Now that we've talked about techniques, let's put them together into a simple daily practice routine. Consistent practice is the key to speaking smoothly without pausing. Here's an easy routine you can follow every day, even for just 10 to 15 minutes. First, start with reading aloud for 2 to 3 minutes. Choose a short article, a paragraph from a book, or even a news story. Focus on connecting your words and keeping a smooth flow. Second, do a shadowing exercise for 3 to 4 minutes. Listen to a short clip from a podcast or video and repeat what you hear, trying to copy the speaker's tone and rhythm. Third, practice speaking freely for 3 to 4 minutes. Talk about your day, describe your surroundings, or tell a short story. Try to speak without stopping too much and use filler words if needed. Finally, take 1 to 2 minutes to reflect. Listen to your recording if you made one, and notice one small thing you can improve tomorrow. Even a short daily routine like this can make a huge difference over time. Remember, the key is consistency, not perfection. Every small step you take brings you closer to speaking English smoothly and confidently. Before we finish, I want to share a short story to motivate you. There was a student named Amina. She was very shy and always paused when speaking English. She felt nervous and thought she would never speak smoothly, but Amina decided to practice every day. She followed a simple routine: reading aloud, shadowing English podcasts, and speaking about her day. She also learned common phrases and practiced breathing while speaking. After a few weeks, something amazing happened. Her pauses became shorter, her sentences flowed naturally, and she started speaking with confidence. People could understand her better, and she even enjoyed speaking English. The lesson here is simple: small daily steps make a big difference. Even if you pause a little in the beginning, keep practicing. With patience, consistency, and confidence, you can speak English smoothly, just like Amina. All right, let's quickly recap everything we learned today about speaking English without pausing too much. We talked about why people pause: nervousness, lack of words, thinking in your native language, and fear of mistakes. We learned the difference between natural pauses and unnatural pauses, and why controlling them makes your speech smoother. We discussed building confidence, thinking in English, expanding vocabulary, and using filler words naturally. We also explored practicing with flow, controlling breathing and voice, and creating a simple daily routine to improve every day. And finally, we heard a story about Amina, who improved her fluency step by step. Remember, it's not about speaking fast. It's about speaking smoothly, confidently, and consistently. Here's your final tip. Practice a little every day. Be patient with yourself and celebrate every improvement. Even small daily steps will make a big difference over time. Thank you for listening to this episode of Personal Growth Talks podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and share it with a friend who wants to speak English more confidently. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next episode.